Get addicted, dude. I'm addicted.
All
We
right.
can be addicted together, and then I can feel less bad about myself.
Sounds good. I like the video you sent me.
Yeah, which remind me again.
It was
It was
about
about the bloomer and everything.
yeah.
I watched that the other day, and it should.
I like how he relates like Nietzsche and I forget the other philosopher. But it just like turns a meme into a comment about society and how the relevance of certain philosophers' work.
Definitely a really ingenious video about that. Like memes are kind of reflection of our like human nature.
Yeah.
Getting
Even if
really serious.
even if it's like a subconscious, you don't recognize the statement behind it, but it just feels right.
Exactly. And like shared memes between people are just like shared personalities, and I think it just does speak to like our broader selves, I guess.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like, and even the weird memes too, and like just weird people post weird memes, and so that's even like its own to tell.
Yeah, that's true. It allows like a little niche for people to have a group. Oh shit! I don't know if I'm gonna make it back.
Wait, I also got 2 hours. Where'd you go?
Below our farm, which is not. It's all cluttered, so I have to like dig my way back. I think I'll make it. I'm good. Quit trampling our farm.
I haven't seen your house yet.
It's small as shit. Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about. They talked about Nietzsche saying that God is dead and that we have to make our own meaning in life now. And if you accept, if you try to make your own meaning, you are a lot more lonely and outcast, but he thinks it's far better than accepting the social cultural norms. Oh shit, you slept in bed with me?
I was expecting it to pop up and say like you're not allowed to sleep in bed with someone else yet. Let me sleep with you. I was like, oh, I guess that happened.
How you did that without me even noticing, man? That's sneaky.
Shit, I didn't even get your consent or anything.
Oh, these are done. So you can just right click on them and you can pick them up.
Wait, I have to. How do I store stuff? Because my inventory is like perpetually full.
Yeah, if you click E and then you click on the hammer, you can craft a chest. Oh fuck. Except my inventory is full, so I can't put the chest down. Here we go.
Well, there's like little storage spaces, right? Or no? Oh, those are just like unlockable.
Yeah, you can get backpacks. So I just put it down here, and then you can click on it and store stuff in it. Picking up some frickin' parsnips. Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about that. How like previously in society there was pretty pretty well formulated beliefs that people stuck to. And so the main challenge was making your experiential background fit into those beliefs. But now we're independently making our own beliefs, which depends on our experiences. So it's kind of like a weird paradox where, we're forming our experiences to fit in our beliefs, and we're forming our beliefs based off our experiences. And every
That's
time,
where that weird background sense of subjectivity comes in, and I think that definitely makes sense as to why where it's such like a polarizing time in our species like social development.
right? And as time went on, I don't want to do that. As time went on, we started questioning our beliefs more and more, and they became less well founded and became more up to us to formulate our beliefs. And so I feel like that's the reason why people have that doomer attitude, because they don't really know what to make of their beliefs, and they don't really know how their experience fits in those beliefs. Because if you're going to reshape your belief, you have to like readapt all of your experiences to fit that. So like if you thought that you saw a ghost or something like that, and then you further went on to believe that ghosts aren't real, you have to change that memory so that it's some other reason for why you thought that there was a ghost, which takes a lot of work if you have a lot of experiences. So I can see why people don't do that very often.
Right. Well, yeah, and you sort of have to like lose a part of yourself, in
Yeah.
a big sense of our personal identity. Well, probably all of our personal identity from the past and our memories and our not only that, but also our reactions to past memories and reactions to our memories of those past events as far as we interpreted them.
Yeah. I've been thinking about that with music too. Like, what is the reason I want to do music?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Um, because I've wanted to be a musician a long time. But recently I've been really questioning, like, well, what do I want to do with my music? What's the main goal of making music? Is it enough? I mean, if it's just for fun, then why would I be putting it on the internet and putting YouTube videos out and trying to make it better? I'd just be jamming. Yeah. So I want something else from it, But it's not enough, at least for me, it's not enough to just convey emotion to other people. Because I like, philosophical concepts and logic more than I tend to like emotion. So I want to give people that, which I feel like is kind of hard to do through music, but some people do it pretty successfully.
I've noticed that every song that I've written that I have had that for, that just sort of the songs just wrote themselves.
Yeah.
Every time that happens, it's one of those songs that I keep around, and it's one of the songs that I know is eventually gonna be on them and be recorded and just like the best that I can do, you know.
Yeah. See, I'm finding the opposite for me, because a lot of my songs that I just create, it's mainly because I'm just, messing around with music, and then the lyrics are kind of disassociative, and I don't really have emotion connected to the song. So I'm going to try to go about it where I write, the lyrics and the intent of the song first, and then do the music, then do the melody. Just so that I have an idea in my mind what I want it to be before I start making it.
Definitely a good way to go about it. But, yeah, so I was gonna say, like, with my lyrics and everything, like in the songs that I write, like every song that comes together like that is always about the same thing for me, and it always turns into being about like the spirit,
Yeah.
really my experience with it, and just like the feelings that come along with it. And I've always been like big into writing poetry and shit, so I've always been really into like finding interesting ways to say things and like new words and just like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So anytime I write, I'm always kind of writing about the same thing, but I'm just describing it in a different way.
Yeah. I forget. I think it was Zena's poetry professor. He said there's only 3 topics for poetry: life, love, and death. And it's pretty true.
Have you ever written a song about a girl?
I've written quite a few.
What's that?
I've written quite a few songs about girls.
Just about Xena, or is that enough?
Interestingly enough, not about Xena. I wrote them in college when I was like doing my flirty thing, trying to get as many cuddles as I could, essentially. Um, so I was trying to elicit a feeling instead of just feeling the feeling, if that makes sense.
It does. Writing the songs like for the intention of sharing them with said girl, and then trying to elicit emotions in them or in yourself.
A little bit of both. Like, I would usually share them, but I think it was more for me to like convince myself it was a good idea. Like, eh, I want love, so I'm gonna make it be love.
Okay, yeah, I see.
Yeah. Turns out that's not the best way to go about it. Who would have thought?
Yeah, it's a shame you can't force yourself. I know I've been thinking a lot too about um where we were in like the whole like the golden age of religion and everything. So like basically just like our species believing in Santa Claus, you know? It's just like the childhood of humanity. And now we're in like that awkward young adult phase of our humanity where we're starting to realize that, like, oh, the world is actually the world.
Yeah, it's not some mythical thing that's going on. It's pretty
Like,
much,
it's starting to get, right?
huh?
Like, it's starting to get old, right? Like,
Yeah,
science has just been monetized, and it's been so oversold and overused that it's just like the experience itself is becoming a novelty almost.
yeah, yeah. I was thinking about it too, like, you know, because of the um, uprooting of solid beliefs, there's more a general distrust of information, um, which I think, you know, that's pretty valuable from protecting against uh, atrocities that come from systematic beliefs. It's like if less people were just following what was happening in the Holocaust and people actually thought about the logic, it probably wouldn't have been as bad as it was, you know. But instead, people were told something, and most people were going along with it, so they went along with it too. Um, sort of,
I think that's true to an extent, but I know like a lot of the German people had no idea what was going on until like the war was over and the Allies started raiding all the camps and everything. Wow, our government was doing this.
yeah,
At least that's the idea that I have about it.
yeah. I'm not sure about the general public, but I was thinking of the people who were in charge of the camps and things like that, and their main
Yeah,
response
yeah,
was, "I was just following orders," you know. So if they were thinking critically about it, they would have realized that this probably isn't the best idea, and we shouldn't just let it happen. But what I also notice is that, you know, people have become just as hive-minded in their distrust. So they have like anti-vaxxers and random stuff that people have grouped up together. So I think the next step is for us to truly be individuals in our thought.
because like that's true. I feel like what a lot of the anti-vaxxers and the flat earthers and all the people who sorts of groups, it's definitely a reaction against technology, but it's just like a complete 180 reaction so that you're not settling in the middle, but your ideology is to like the antithesis of ideology that you're running away from is. So like
Yeah.
the earth is round. No, the earth is flat. Okay, but you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you're still chemically believing something and like don't have as any proof as much as NASA doesn't have any proof.
Yeah. I think the general logic is that you can't believe something just because somebody told you. And then people take advantage of that and say, well, you know, I looked into it and I found that the earth is flat, and you can't just believe what people tell you, and then people believe what they told about that.
People who aren't in the system, they don't like. Same problem with solving anything.
Man, you got some bad internet.
Picking up a bunch.
I just got kicked.
Yeah.
So, what are some popularly held beliefs that you disagree with?
There's some popularly held beliefs that I disagree with. Oh, I definitely disagree with most of the medical field. So that's kind of a wild thing to say, I guess. I don't know. I just feel like doctors and everything are great. Still don't think we really know anything about the way the human body works because we've just sort of compartmentalized it into like a bunch of different parts as opposed to like one whole body, you know.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I think is wrong because it is one whole functioning system and all the parts interdepend, you know.
Yeah. That's my main qualm with nutritional science. It's all based off statistics, you know. These people eat this and are more likely to get heart disease. So you should eat this amount of this to not get heart disease. But there are so many factors that go into that. There's, I don't know. Ooh. You know, like your mental health, your environment that you're living in, the air you breathe, how much you drink. Like, there's
Yeah.
just so many different factors. You can't try to single one out amongst a group.
Exactly. Like it definitely was starting to become clear to me a little while ago when I was doing research. I was trying to convince my parents to go vegan, um, because my dad has heart problems and everything. And so I was looking up the symptoms and like the supposed geneticness of his heart condition. And one of the things that I found is that a lot of the things that lead to his condition, like his entire family has been doing for their entire lives, basically, like excessive like alcohol consumption, coffee consumption, smoking cigarettes, and then like eating meat, all are like the biggest causes of heart disease. And like so my heart disease runs in my family, but I think the thing is that diet and addiction choice runs in the family
Yeah.
as opposed to this heart problem, you know. But
Yeah.
like the general consensus of a lot of people is that that's not how it works, and that you're just kind of like screwed in the genetic lottery, and there's nothing you can do to change it, and you just have to accept your fate. And I just think that's really bleak,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah. A lot of those, especially genetic things, are based off statistics, which again, there's so many different variables you can't ignore. And there's too many variables that you can't take them all into account at the same time.
Right.
It's kind of like physics. Oh, I think we have enough for the backpack. Um, you know,
We do.
Einstein's physics works for our purposes, but I'm pretty sure it's not correct.
Right. Yeah, there's no way. I mean, even like quantum physics is just showing us how much we don't know about things.
Right.
Einstein's universe was a place where there was a lot of certainty. To Never mind. I'm thinking of somebody else. Oh, I can't fish here.
Fishing on the ground.
I catch me some dirt.
I wouldn't fish in this pond. It's pretty shitty.
No. I caught a sunfish
Oh yeah,
already.
yeah. You should sell your fish. They go for. Oh, also, one of us can get a backpack if you want to get a backpack.
Yeah. Go for it.
Oh, okay. Don't mind if I do. Um, I forgot what we were talking about.
What are some unpopular things that you disagree with?
Well, that's one of them. You know, there's a whole philosophy behind science that science is our best way of getting truth. But the major flaw with science is that um, it assumes the previous knowledge is true. So that's what happened with classical physics and Newtonian physics. You know, everyone thought that Newtonian physics was right, and then Einstein was like, "Wow, you know, time and space are actually linked together, and mass is equal to energy, and if you go fast, then time slows down, and there's no gravitational constant." All these things, and yet we still use Newtonian's equations, even though they're technically wrong, because they're easier and they work well enough for us, our purposes.
Yeah, I mean, like, there was a quote I read a while ago that was something about how modern science is built on its own, like, corpse, because, like, science always has to be wrong on some level in order for it to be right in the future, or more right in the future. So, like, everything that has ever been scientific that has got us to our current place of knowledge has been incorrect.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, I definitely see how we are, like, narrowing in on truth, possibly, but I could also see how we're not,
Yeah, so
because maybe we're just completely wrong
that's the
from the
other
beginning.
assumption is that we're going towards objective truth, right?
Yeah.
So each time we prove something wrong and pose a new idea, we're getting closer to the truth. But it could be that we're just getting farther and farther away from what it really is.
Yeah. That's interesting.
I think the main thing I believe that's not very popular is non-realism. I think that
What do you mean?
the world, you know, the way we perceive the world is through our senses, and then the world is crafted from those senses, and then we make judgments and make observations about the world, but really we're just making observation about our senses. Like color in nature doesn't actually exist.
Hmm.
It's just a
Yeah.
spectrum of light that we've divided for our own purposes. But we think of color as being the nature of reality.
Right.
So I don't think we can ever, if there is an objective truth, I don't think we would ever be able to conceptualize it in any way.
I think in order for us to see objective truth, our our medium for seeing it would need to be objective truth itself. Otherwise, it's going to be from a specific smaller viewpoint.
Right.
Like Gödel's incompleteness theorem.
No.
So Kurt Gödel was this mathematician from a while ago, and I think in like the 40s or something. And he had this mathematical theorem that basically like it's hard for me to explain because I do understand it, but I don't really understand how to explain it. But basically, like any um any given system uh with sets like a certain set of axioms and like core beliefs uh is like it always has to self-reference in order for it to prove its own
Oh yeah.
validity. You know what I mean? So like, yeah,
Yeah, you can't have any independent axioms that don't relate to any other axioms in math.
yeah, exactly. And so that uh, in mathematics also translates to knowledge and epistemology and like everything really. It's like you can't ever really have objective truth because like in order for us to describe it, we need to use a system with axioms that are smaller and contained within what is objective truth. You know, so like words, for example, like it's like what Derrida was doing with deconstructionism and everything. Like all words depend on other words to describe their definition. You know, like you can't like you look in a dictionary for definition for one word and then you find like 600 other words and then you look up definitions for those 600 words and then you find 600 words defining those words for each word defining, you know, so it's just like it's like a self-referencing program almost.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it starts from a classification. So, oh, a train. The world in itself is one coexisting system. It's not like there's a photon and a receptor. It's just a system. Probably
Yeah.
explain that better. Alan Watts explains it like, wherever you find a field of flowers, there are bees. And wherever you find a bunch of bees, there's a field of flowers.
Hmm.
So you could say that they're independent, but you could also say that they are one thing together.
Right.
And that's essentially how the world is working. It's all working in tandem as one system. There are no things that exist in the system. It's just this one thing that is everything.
Yeah.
But in order for us to survive in the world, we have to detect threats and we have to get food and differentiate everything. So it starts with a differentiation of objects like tree and whatever else and develops into um, concepts. We have a concept of a tree, but we don't have to have a tree to know what the concept of a tree is. And then a language about those concepts.
Yeah. I mean, it all really is about just being able to differentiate self from other. That's kind of what the survival instinct is, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like even like tribes and families and groups and everything, like you start to just identify, even though they're other beings, they're still self, they're still me, you know, and then you have other, which is maybe a predator or another tribe or something, or another way of thinking. Um, and yeah, it all definitely stems from our need to yeah, whatever you said about survival.
Yeah. Yeah, if we weren't able to differentiate things, we would not be able to act within them. A really good way, I don't remember who put it this way, but it's kind of like a computer. So you have a computer screen and you have a button, and you click on the button and it does what you want it to do. But inside the computer, there's no button or screen. There's just ones and zeros that are passing through different devices that are made to contain information, and it just looks like electrons essentially moving around. But if we were to try to use that system, try to send an email by just moving around electrons, it's not going to work. So our perceptual system and our reality is basically just a GUI, a screen that allows us to interact with the universe but doesn't represent it in any way.
Right. Yeah, I read this book a while ago that mentioned something like that. I think he was calling it like the photon screen. Um, and it's like, yeah, basically that, like our senses are our way of interacting with the world, but the world is just photons and it's just packets of energy. Yeah, in the same way that ones and zeros are in a computer, quanta are in our world.
Yeah.
I'm kind of sad. I caught a fish that was like super cool, and I guess I didn't have enough space in my inventory, so I didn't get to keep it.
Damn it. We gotta get you the
Yeah,
backpack.
yeah. It was like 20 inches. It was like a shad or something. It was blue.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a ton of fish. It depends on what pond you're in, if it's raining, if it's a Saturday, if it's at night. Yeah. Yeah, so, going off that knowledge, um, what do we make of the world, essentially? Like, if we truly are just a coalition of accidents that were sustainable, sustainable accidents, then
Yeah.
what is the reason for how should we be developing society? What do we want out of life? Because it really
Yeah.
is up to us what we want it to be about.
Like, what should we want?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like transhumanism almost to a point, because like if we can start to put our own species survival not to the side, not to say like we would all just like start to neglect our health and wither or whatever, but like just to understand our place as tiny as it really is in everything we do.
Yeah,
And that was when I think we could totally become something more than what we are.
yeah, yeah. I think we have to reach a general consensus about what beyond us we would want to do for that to happen. Like, currently the options are um, provide for society and be an influential person, um, just kind of live and pass by in life,
Right.
or live to be happy, or to make a difference, or to contribute to sustainability of Earth and the human race. you know. But beyond that, there's not many options for like, you know, what do we want to do in the universe?
Yeah.
What do humans want to be known as if they're ever discovered? So right now, it'd be pretty despicable, I think, if an alien landed on Earth. Just like, what the?
Probably. Like, you guys haven't figured out that like you're all in this together yet.
What are you guys even arguing about? It doesn't make any sense.
You guys just made this up. Literally, stop arguing about it.
Yeah, humans are a pretty stupid race. You know, I'm okay if humans go extinct, actually. Like,
No, I agree. Honestly, like if we do, we were meant to in the first place. Well, not really, but like we never would have made it in the first place. You know?
yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's evolution just working. We got our shot and we ruined the earth with it because of stupid things like money and proved that we're not really worth being alive. Wow, that's sad. Maybe not worth being alive, but well, we shouldn't be sustained. We can't be sustained.
Yeah.
Make way for something else.
It's true. And there'll always be something else to make way for.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, nothing will ever live forever. So even if we are this perfect, you know, species that doesn't fuck up in any way, there's still no hope, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it just coming to grips with that and just accepting it?
I think so. I think that like the Doomer video, people are starting to accept that there's no real inherent reason for life. And then what do you do after that? Like,
Yeah, right.
that's pretty depressing if you just take it at face value.
Right. That's why and like that's what the thing that made me send you the video was the ending where they started talking about the bloomer, and I was like, I was so ready to embrace the whole doomer thing and like, yeah, man, that's where I'm at. And then they started talking about the bloomer, and it was just like, yeah, so he knows all this shit, and he sees it, and then he's working on accepting it, and sees happiness in life. And it showed the dude like crying at the sunset, and I was like, I'm there actually.
Yeah, that's us.
I was like, man, that's awesome. Made me feel so much happier.
Yeah.
I'm so good at like getting caught up in all the dread of everything, but to have a video just be like, well, yeah, that it was just really nice.
Yeah, it was a really good video because it was extremely relatable to me, at least.
Oh yeah, no, I relate to just about everything that guy was saying.
Yeah, and at first I didn't want to because he was talking about memes, and I was like, yeah, whatever, you know.
Yeah,
I'm not part of popular culture and mainstream society.
I don't like things that other people like.
Right. Then he was like, you know, they
Purpose.
generally believe that there's no reason for life and they have to deal with that fact. And I was like, yeah, okay, you got me there.
Coming out with the big guns.
It's sad though. I've seen one of my friends was in that doomer state essentially, and I asked him, you know, in the typical fashion I do, where I just cut straight to the crazy questions. I was like, what do you want from life? He's like, I don't know, maybe settle down or get a girlfriend or a wife or something. And I was like, well, yeah, but I mean, like, what do you want to do? You know, that's not really a goal or a dream. It's just what's happening around you while you're doing your stuff, what do you want to do? And
Yeah.
he's like, oh, I don't really care. I don't want to do anything. And I was like, wow, you know,
Yeah.
what a way to live your life. You don't have anything you want to do. You're just
I
gonna,
feel like it's just sort of like putting off your life until the next generation.
Yeah, it's crazy. I also think we shouldn't have kids. There's enough humans already. Oh crap.
But yeah, no, I'm more and more coming to the realization that like I've never really wanted kids, but I'm like almost positive that if anything I'll just adopt. Like I don't think I'll ever have a kid. It's
Yeah.
just like it's wasteful at
Yeah.
this point.
I like to think of it like there's 7 billion humans. If you thought about that scale of any other creature besides like ants or something, you know, imagine like 7 billion cows just as densely populated as we are. You know,
Right.
couldn't go.
There's a stupid amount of cows on this world.
There
I
is.
think
That's true.
honestly there are more cows than people.
Really? I'm gonna have to do a Google search on that.
Yeah.
Google. How many cows exist? Holy shit.
What is it?
There are 19 billion chickens.
Holy shit.
There are 7 billion people, and there are 1.4 billion cows.
Okay. Still though, that's an obscene amount of chickens.
There are 3.6 chickens per person in China.
Oh, really rolling in the dough.
Holy crap, there's 7 chickens per person in the United States.
It's really not. I mean, it's not a lot. Like, if you were just given 7 chickens for like a year,
Yeah, I guess that's true. They don't take up much space.
plus you would get like eggs and shit too, if you were smart about it.
Yeah. But I mean, like thinking about, you know, cities that we have set up in densely populated areas, coming across a city like that of cows, you would be like, wow, this species is invasive and we need to kill it, essentially.
Yeah, right. Just coming up across like a valley and it's just got like 100 million cows hanging out.
Right. You'd be like, holy shit, we need to do something.
Not even that big of a city.
Hey, you like my seashell?
Oh, I thought it was a chef's hat. About to go cook something. Oh, I will have your clam.
Oh, how
You have
clammy.
mine.
Oh, you put a little heart above your head. Oh.
I'm very tired.
Yeah, I'm about passed out. Wait, you mean in real life or in the game?
Oh no, yeah, in the game, the character's not looking too happy.
Give me it. Ah, you put it away.
You take my wood.
Ah, I don't know, man. I don't think a wood and a clam is a good combination.
What about my pole?
Okay, yeah, I'll take your pole.
Sweet.
Give me that sweet pole.
I'm gonna go get something to drink. I'll be right back.
All right. Editor, you can cut this because it is useless. Useless. Go ahead and like and subscribe and check out Palmer Productions. Oh, that's me, Palmer Productions. Oh, well, you know you want to. You know you want to.
All right, don't even worry, I'm back.
Oh, I was so worried, man.
I hit okay. All right. So were you just like waiting at the pause screen?
Yeah, so that you didn't pass out. So, if everyone in the world bought a 3,500 square foot home, it would only take up 0.02% of the United States.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought it was like a lot worse.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah. So maybe it's just our systemic issues of overpopulation.
Well, yeah. No, definitely. I mean, I hate to say it, but literally all of our problems right now are coming from capitalism and the wealth disparity.
Right. I got an argument on Reddit recently with someone who was saying that like social health care and essentially capitalism is the only way to ensure that you get a good product.
Right.
And I was like, no. Like, there's so many economic incentives to not make a good product.
Yeah. No, there's countless.
Yeah. I was like, with doctors are not going to do the risky option that is more likely to save your life because then they're more likely to be sued or get a bad review. So they just do the safe option that kills your family member or whatever. That's like the whole premise of Dr.
Like
House.
phage therapy.
Oh, you can go buy the backpack now if you want it. Have you ever watched Dr. House?
Yeah, the like the TV show with Hugh Laurie.
I don't know. I don't know if that's who it is, but yeah. Yeah, he just like he makes ballsy decisions. Oh fuck, the store's closed on Wednesdays.
I get to name my dog
Yeah.
Dr. House.
He makes ballsy decisions and everyone like hates him, but he does whatever he can to save the patient. So, and you don't know if he's making the right call or the wrong call pretty much every episode.
Right. Yeah, and that's people like that is who we need in the medical field, like who are actually dedicated to it and not just in it for money. You know,
right? That's the other thing.
Exactly what incentivizes in the system we have.
Yeah, and then if people are doing things just for money, they're not doing their job because they want to do good at their job. They're doing whatever they can to just make money.
And to play it safe and to secure their lives, which makes sense in capitalism. But if we move past it, we won't really need to like hoard our wealth individually. You know, we can just collectively own the wealth.
Yeah, yeah, and that's like capitalism has done a really good job of bringing up the overall wealth. So people want to make new products and innovations because it will make them money, and then a lot of progress is made because of it. But
right, what we're trying to do right now, though, is just hold on to the system. Like capitalism turned us into what we are today, and like we would not be able to have the infrastructure and have the shared resources without it. But now we need to start moving on from it.
Yeah.
Because there's no such thing as unlimited growth. It does not exist.
Yeah. You ever seen the anime show Gurren Lagann?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
That's pretty good. It's about, um, evolutionary races just don't seem to have an end to progress. It's like, I forget what theory it is, but that processors will, or technology will double in advancement every 10 years or so.
Yeah.
And that's exponential growth. That's just ridiculous. There's no way to keep up with it.
Right.
It's like we have no idea the psychological effects or physiological effects of the technology we have now because there's not been enough time to study it before new technology came out.
It's advancing too quickly.
Yeah. So it's kind of about that. Like races advance way too quickly and eventually destroy themselves. So the best way to stop that is to stop progress, essentially.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. That's kind of like,
Yeah, it's sort of like psychedelics, and just like, if you take one and really integrate your experience and really understand it, it's super beneficial. But if you just like keep dropping acid every other weekend and just dive into it, and before too long, like you'll just be too far in without having really understood where you are.
yeah. Yeah, that's the big thing with psychedelics is the environment that it's taken in. Because if it's held, professionally and clinically, it has a super high success rate. I think the problem is that people just take it without, you know, without any safety, without any regard as to what they're doing, and then it turns out bad, or it's just a fun trip.
Right. Yeah, and it gives psychedelics a bad name.
Yeah. What do you think about like genetic adaptations before birth?
Scary shit, man. I mean, we're still really only looking in the span of one lifetime as far as like medical effects, So like imagine changing something that seems benign within a lifetime, but then within like 5 generations or something just causes like obscene disfigurements and shit. Like by the time we catch it, it would have spread to like so many people. Just genetic drift,
Yeah.
It's a yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of it's just too much shit that we don't understand about the way that we work in order to like already be trying to edit our code. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We barely know what computers are at this point, let alone how to write in machine language.
Yeah. If we can't make an AI, we probably shouldn't be trying to fuck with nature.
That's a good point. Yeah, I mean we can't really even simulate our one part of ourselves, you know. Or well, I guess AI would technically need to be all
Yeah, have sensors and systems.
right. How do you feel like it would be able to come about? AI.
I think we're pretty far already. I think it just takes time.
Right. I feel like well, it's gonna be way different than we think it is gonna be.
Yeah. I think there's not enough randomness in a sense. Like if you think about our choices, it's not like we have a set criterion for what a success is. Um, which computers, when they do AI, they do have a set criterion, a better number or a longer lasting, whatever criterion you give it. But humans, we take emotional responses, we take past experiences, we take the word from others, and all these other things into account that are not completely rational.
Right. And even as much as we'd like to claim we're rational beings, we just toss and turn over an idea, and then at the end, we still kind of make just a rash decision to decide one way or the other.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's how we feel about it, if we're scared, or there's so many things that go into it.
Right.
And
And so that almost, in a sense, is part of consciousness too. Is all of the randomness and the rash decisions and all the unexpected things that turn you into something as much as you turn yourself into something.
right. What do you think about free will?
I honestly really don't know, because as far as my spiritual experience has gone, like I'm more and more being able to just like grasp the concept of my being everything and having been everything, and just really sort of letting that get to me, really. Because like it's easy to hear that and just think of it as sort of a platitude. It's just like, oh, I'm everything, great, cool, what's next? But like if you think about it, it means that you have been everybody, and you've done everything that has ever been done to a person and by a person, and you've also experienced everything that's been done to a person,
Mm-hmm.
and like you've been both sides of every situation. And I mean, like, I don't mean my ego, like myself, like Dan. Dan is just one face of this thing, but like um yeah, just I always do that, man. I don't know why. Like I'll just be talking and then I'll just trail off and completely forget what I was saying.
I noticed that when
It's really irritating.
I was recording Portal, I would like say something and then just like not finish it, or it would take me 10 minutes to finish because I just get off track. Yeah, I think free will is an illusion. Um,
That's what we were talking about, free will, right?
yep.
Yeah. So right. No, I remember where I was going. Sorry. So all that, I've been everything. I've done everything. So I don't know. Like free will is just such a tricky idea. I don't even know if such a concept is like apt, because like we still assume that we're actually controlling anything.
Yeah.
I don't know that I am controlling anything. Like, honestly, the more that I go through it, and the more that I meditate, and the more that I let go of everything and just let things happen instead of me trying to do things, the more I realize that every single time I try and do something, I am holding on, and I have a certain idea, and it's ruining the natural flow of things. So I feel like free will is just our misunderstanding and our appropriation of action and actors, I guess. It's like we do things, we we attribute all of the doing to our brain, and really what's going on is that our brain is just witnessing, and it's just a hub for all of our sensory inputs, and our senses are navigating themselves through the world, and we're just watching it happen. We mistake like the center of all of the senses for the thing directing the senses to experience,
Yeah.
whereas really it's the other way around.
Yeah, there's an interesting thing in neuroscience where it was, oh yeah, you can get a backpack now. It's Thursday. It's a bit too early though.
Sorry for making you pick me up, by the way. I was getting a sword from some guy.
That's okay. Uh, there's this stone. Oh wow.
What were you gonna say about free will, though?
Place can serve as the convenient places to refill your water. Oh. That we there are certain factors that come into our decisions. Like I was talking about before, we have emotional and logical and irrational and all these things that AI can't really simulate. But at the end of it all, we're trying to make the best decision, you know, whether we think it's, you know, we can't handle the decision because it's too much, or we're going to be selfish, or we're going to be altruistic, or we're going to be logical. We're just making the best decision that we think is the best decision every time. So really, we're not choosing. We're just reassembling the factors and trying to decide what's the best decision. And all of that comes from your emotion, which is a physical, you know, your heart sends you something, or you have memories that elicit certain emotions, or you have adrenal glands and different glands that send you different emotions. And then you have logic, which is just memory and information. Um, so, you know, I think if everything was combined in the same exact way, you would always make the same choice because you're trying to choose the best choice. Nobody purposely chooses something that they don't think is a good choice. Unless they're trying to be like counter, which in that case they think that choosing the bad choice is the good choice, so they're still choosing the good choice.
Right.
So I think free
That's
will,
really interesting.
yeah, I think free will is an illusion because we think we're choosing, but really we're just deciding upon the factors, what factors are most important.
Right. Yeah, and those factors always involve some sort of negative and positive. it's always about some form of avoidance of suffering, right? Because if you're trying to make the good decision and have like a social life or something and choose friends, like you're trying to avoid social isolation and the pain that comes with that. Or even like choosing to eat food, like it feels better to be full
Yeah.
for whatever reason, for survival. That's how our bodies evolved, I guess. But yeah, that's a really interesting thought.
I think that's unpopular opinion too. People want to believe that they have free will.
And,
And he and I.
yeah, dude, I went to Chris's house the other day, well, yesterday, to
Mhm.
grab my brother's bass guitar, and we sat and talked for a while, like you do.
Mhm.
Oh, sorry, 1 second. Um, and yeah, I was just telling him all about like much more of a real person I am now.
I think he is too.
Like having totally, yeah. He's becoming like a person and having like he calls it values, you know.
Yeah.
Like I mean having a distinct set of values and something to believe in and everything, and that's kind of how that's not really how I would describe it, but I totally see where he's coming from,
Yeah.
having a personality.
Right. An independent belief system or something that's your
Um,
own and you stand by it.
but
That's something we were
I
talking about
just
with Cole. Did you see their whole Snapchat thing?
yeah, he told me about it. I didn't read any of the snaps, but he told me what was happening.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I was just watching the whole thing.
Yeah, that they're not too happy with each other apparently.
No.
Bad.
But yeah, Cole has always been someone that like you can never really tell what he thought about something or what he really cared about because he would more just go with whatever's happening, which I do. I do that a lot, just going with whatever. But I think my ideals and my beliefs are more formulated.
Yeah, I definitely have been in both places. For a long time, I definitely just went along with everything, you know, because I learned how to do that in middle school from just like constant bullying and everything. I learned just how to like lay low and like put my personality on hold in order to like survive socially. Uh, which I didn't really survive socially that well, anyways. So it was probably all for naught, honestly. But it made me who I am, and now I actually like know what it's like to not be anything, and I don't want to be that,
Yeah.
and I'm not anymore. Like going to school and everything, like seriously changed my life because now I have like a lot of friends and like I feel popular for the first time in my life, and I feel like people actually like me for me, you know. Like
Yeah.
I'm myself in front of people, and like people really like it, and it's really cool, man.
I got into trouble though because most of the people I hung out with in college, including Chris and Jack, kind of idolized me a little bit. I think so. It didn't matter what I said; it was always a good thing for a while.
I,
I kind of miss
coming from the guru.
right. I kind of miss people like confirming my whatever I say. Nobody
Yeah.
believes in me anymore.
You need to get some more lackeys.
Yep.
It's like hang around the engineering department of your college and be like the guy who never graduated. Who graduated.
Just hangs out.
The dude who hangs out in the high school, after even though he's like 23, but less creepy.
Yeah, definitely less creepy than that. Yeah, for quite a while now, I've been not really a sole actor in my own life, you know. Like, Xena got a job down here in Midland, so we decided to move down here, and I tried to find a job as well, and I haven't yet. Um, so a lot of the time, I'm just like, you know, keeping the house clean or making sure. I don't know if you know, but we took on Xena's 12-year-old brother and are taking care of him.
Didn't know that.
So, you know, helping him with his homework and his teenager emotions
And feeding him and
feeding him, making him lunches, and making sure he gets from place to place, all that stuff that comes with a teenager. Um, and taking care of the cats and trying to survive financially because, well, Xena gets paid pretty well, but we have quite a bit of debt and took on a 12-year-old. So, um,
how is everything going with you guys?
it's going well. She wants to quit her job, though, for sure.
Yeah.
She doesn't find any meaning in it, and she's not really doing anything that she, you know, she has valuable skill sets, but
But she's not really finding herself in it.
right. They basically want her there to learn about different systems and be the person in charge of those systems. Um, but you know, anyone could do that, and it doesn't really have. You can't really see any meaning behind it. It's, you know, you learn a
Really.
system for people to use, and then they don't really use it that well, and then you reinvent the system, and it essentially seems like you're just doing stupid work for no reason.
Right.
And that's
Sort of just like a cog fitting into a machine.
right, and it's a job that you're only doing because of the money benefits.
Yeah. That's where my dad's been for the last 30 years.
Yeah,
It's like probably one of the biggest factors that's made me the person that I am, because like I don't want that to happen to me, where I just all of a sudden have spent 30 years at a job that I don't really like at all.
yeah, yeah. So we're trying to figure out what to do, um, how to not live that life essentially,
Yeah.
because we don't want to be stuck in there either.
Lazy.
So we have a plan for living in the van in Colorado again and just taking up like minimum wage jobs.
Nice.
And I've just been applying to places all over the country to try to find a job so that she doesn't have to work. Because, I mean, you know, I think most people that find work in the industry that they went to school for don't find it fulfilling, which is
Yeah.
sad, but the truth. But on top of that, she was like, you know, she had a brain injury. So she has other factors, and her body is literally degrading, and from stress and inability to keep up with the life that they demand. And
Oh,
so I definitely think, you know, if I got a good job and she got just a waitress job or something, that we should do that instead.
right. Yeah, or some job that she can be happy at.
Yeah.
You gotta be happy too, though, you know.
Right. Well, I mean, if we were working, well, since I'm not working, I'm working on music and music videos and all this stuff I want to do. But if we weren't working in shitty jobs, we'd have time to do things that we actually wanted to do, or just enjoy life and not care about how much, how many things we have or how much money we're making and all that.
Right.
You know those lyric video things I put on YouTube?
Yeah.
I put those on Reddit to get feedback on them. Um, and then somebody basically said, like, this is terrible and you're not putting any effort into it. He said, like, if this is trying to be counterculture and purposely bad, then you've done a good job. I was like, oh, thanks, man.
Spreading word from the rando internet stranger.
Yeah. Well, I commented. I said it's not trying to be bad. Like, I'm in my initial phases. I don't have very good recording equipment right now. I'm just, putting it out there. And he's like, well, that's disrespectful to the craft because, why would you not put your best effort out there and just half-ass it? And I responded that, it's the best way to get um, input from more experienced people so that you learn the craft faster, since we have the ability to connect to anyone. And think it's worthwhile to put stuff out that can be commented on by people who really know what they're doing. He was the one that really made me start thinking, like, why do I want my music out there? What do I want to do with it? And I guess it is true, like, those songs were both made for Reddit Weekly Challenge, so it was made in a week. So it really isn't my best work, and I can do better than that. So I should really focus on something until I'm happy with it, I guess.
Yeah, that's definitely very important, I think. Um, you have to be satisfied with your work. Then you know you have done your best.
Yeah, I think in general, whenever I've put some sort of music out there, I've always had an excuse for why it wasn't ready yet. you know.
Yeah.
So if I don't have that excuse, then I'll know it's ready.
Yeah. At the same time, though, that's a really good doorway for perfectionism to creep in, and then you don't finish anything ever.
Yeah, I think at this phase of my career, I think perfectionism is a good avenue for me to go to. Because
It's definitely really beneficial.
yeah.
It's just about like being aware of it and realizing that like, or just like being aware when you're being like too
Oh
self-critical.
shit! I am not gonna make it back. I don't think.
Yeah, time.
No, I'm in the mines. I'm definitely not
Oh
making it
shoot,
back.
I'm already in bed.
Oh fuck.
Tasty.
Yeah, because most of my stuff, like, I work on it a little bit, but I've never polished anything, I don't think. Come on. Walk around
We
the
got like
fucking tree.
till 12:50.
Okay, I made it. Yeah, I think 1 o'clock you pass out.
Okay.
Ooh, nice fish.
Thank you.
Yeah. There's a festival today, I guess, in the game.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, they have those. Just little events and stuff.
Is it in town somewhere?
Yeah, you just go to the right here. I don't know what time it starts, but
I don't want to turn on sticky keys.
man, we did a pretty good job at clearing this out. Oh, egg festival has
The egg
begun.
festival.
Oh yeah, you have to try to find as many eggs as possible, and then you win a prize if you do. I think it's a pretty good prize too. I don't remember what it is though.
I'm gonna get there first.
Oh, what the fuck?
I'll have to wait for you. Fucking lame.
Hell yeah. Hey, fucking come back here. Oh, that's you. I was trying to talk to you. I was like, who are you? Why can't I talk to you? I think there are various reasons why music is important. But I think for me, the one that I want it to be is uh, the message behind it. Which I have not really been doing. I've been
Yeah, I
focusing.
think that like the message is kind of the emotion. So like whether you convey the emotion, the true emotion, and like the true message through your words or through your guitar playing or through your saxophone or whatever, it's still that's the same emotional energy that you're just trying to transmit. You know?
Yeah.
How do you say you haven't really been doing it?
Well, like, um, I focus a lot on the melody or on the rhythm or the technical aspects of songwriting, but you know, not so much like what do I want people to take away from this, or what is the reason I'm creating it in the first place. Because I like people who have, I think people who have extreme emotions, either extreme sadness or intense joy or whatever, when they share that emotion, people can either relate it to their lives and um, take something from it and feel better about it, or they can let go of things, have a good time, just feel that emotion because they want to feel the emotion. Um, but I think in my life, my emotions have not always been, oh, I won.
Hey,
Hell yeah. Um,
nice.
my emotions aren't the leading leading factor in my life. So if I try to convey just my emotion, it doesn't come through very well. um,
Okay.
Whereas since like 6th or 7th grade, I've pondered about what we're doing in the universe and why we're here and what we should do about it. So I think conveying that in my songs will be a lot more meaningful to me,
Right.
which I haven't been doing that.
Yeah, because it's part of your direct experience. I see. Okay.
Yeah. So it's not really been true to me so far, my music. It might be my experience and my emotion, but it's not really true to who I am personally.
Okay. Yeah, sure. That's a good method for introspection, for sure.
Yeah, that's what
Once you
I was
really doing that.
pretty sad the past couple of days because I was like, what's the reason I actually want to make music? you know, it's not enough for me just to elicit emotion.
That was a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, tons.
Sweet.
Hopefully, one of these nights you and Chris will both be up at the same time.
Yeah. I'll put some money on it. See you later, dude.
Yeah, love you, man.
Be good.